Good morning, all. I hope you slept well. Something just came to me. I just came across the video, and I think there is a fine line between accusations and questioning for the truth to be prevailed. Questioning for the truth. I think there's a fine line between that, between accusing somebody of something and just asking for the truth. Because a lot of people seem to think when you ask questions, particularly when you have receipts to show such, but cross aside the receipts, when you ask questions demanding the truth, that then becomes an accusation. And it's like, no. Actually, there's no accusations in that little period, that little, sediment. It's just asking for the truth. And I say this on the grand scale, okay? Whether that be with Erica Kirk, whether that be with Poppy T, whether that be with myself, whether that be with this war, and everybody involved. When you put yourself in a area of power and control and limelight, you're opening the door. You're opening Pandora's box, essentially, to have accusations or have questions asked. It kind of comes with the territory of it. And so it's one of those things, if you are in the position where you do not want questions to be asked, you do not want accusations thrown out there, or whatever you want to classify them, but yet you only want to provide half-truths, well, you better be ready with what comes with it. People's perceptions, people's own thoughts, people's own opinions, people's own beliefs, people's own reality of understanding what you're saying doesn't make a bit of sense. Not to mention, what you're saying doesn't make a bit of sense. Your actions don't make a bit of sense. So it's also 2 of 2. You've got actions that aren't aligning and your words aren't aligning. And then you want to go ahead and cross over and classify it as accusations. No, it's just people putting 2 and 2 together and using their own brain expansion that was designed for them to use, and you not to control it, is the way I see it. And so you can call it what you may. That's just my own beliefs and my own opinions in that whole thing. I think it's cute and comical that people can throw out whatever it is they want to throw out into this reality, but then they ain't ready for the recourse of the boomerang effect based off what they're putting out into this world. It's comical to me. It's like, I only want to be a 30% good person and a 30% semi-truthful person, but I want the world to perceive me as a good person and a truthful person, but I'm not pouring that out into this world. Okay. Like, really? Yeah. That's where you have to be really, careful with what you think and your accusations of what you pour out into this world. And I think it's comical also that it's like, where are the accusations? People, from what I see, including myself, just ask questions. They just want the truth as to what really happened. Make it make sense, because what they're saying doesn't make any sense. It's really all people are asking for. Is transparency, accountability on all sides of the fence. There's nothing wrong with asking for that. This is what's crazy to me. Don't make me feel bad because I want transparency and accountability. Period. I provide that to you. So why is it that people can't seem to put that together for us? Especially when they're in a position of control, they're in a position of the political arena, they're in position of where our money goes and what kind of life we live here on Earth. I mean, my goodness, it's just crazy, some of the TikToks I see. Good gracious. Get a grip. Get a taste of reality. Sheesh. That said, I watched Ian Carroll. I started watching Friday. I'm so glad that he's back, and I'm keeping him in my prayers. I felt that he was going through some kind of, sickness and whatever he's got going on. But I'm glad to see him up and moving and putting his health at the forefront. Your health is most important. It's most vital. Your health, your mental health, your spiritual health. 3 most important. That said, I watched his podcast in regards to the ballroom and unpacking the bunker and the data place down under. Whew. It was hard to swallow. In reference to the reality behind what is truly to come. And I find myself, when I was watching it and listening to him, and so many things were popping in my head, but I think a part of me is also in the place of my walk that what will be when it comes to the extent level that they will take it. And when I say they, whoever they are, they know who they are. Period. And that's in your personal life. That's in the political arena. That's in the entertainment biz. That's everywhere. They know who they are. People know what they do in the dark. People know what they're associated with. People know what they have done and been a part of. People know what kind of actions they've poured out into this world. Period. You don't need to bring that to their attention. They already know. They're well aware of it. That's what I'm coming to realize. It's not my job to explain. It's not my job to go tit for tat. It's not my job to be anything of the sort, truthfully. It's my job not to be anything like them. That is what my job is. Wholeheartedly, for sure. It's my job to rise above it, not get lost in the transitioning of the events while the veils are being lifted, and the masks are clearing. It's my job to stay rooted, to stay grounded spiritually, faithfully, stay in my own headspace and not allow it to take you in a negative zone, because it will, because it's so deep, it's so heavy, it's so dirty, it's so dark. It's impossible for it not to take you in that particular zone of things if you're somebody that operates in understanding the mechanics of what's surrounded in this world, unfortunately. And so it's one of those things, but he is right, Ian, when he mentioned we got to start talking more about spiritual health, your mental health, your life experiences, the good memories. I find myself a lot of the times focusing and remembering a lot of the good memories in my past. I try not to think about the unfavorable ones, the ones that aren't very nice. I try to focus on the good memories, whether that be with my friends, whether that be with my family, whether that be with even my previous marriage or even my ex. I try to focus on the good memories. The memories that don't make any sense, I try not to focus on them at all, truthfully. Because it's hard for me. It's just not something I like by any means. I don't like to think that people go into this world and do crazy things. And I understand how a smear campaign works. I understand how a humiliation ritual works. I understand the mechanics behind it and all the different players that play a part. I understand how they take your fears and your doubts and your insecurities, and they use that against you to play the part of the pawn on their puzzle, as you play the part in the pawn on my puzzle, and as I play the part and pawn on other people's puzzle, right? And so a lot of the times that's kind of how this interconnected matrix is working, essentially, to benefit those